Hi, we are starting a new webinar. We were having some pause because there was a first virtual legislative meeting of National Association of Realtor in previous week, and I didn't want to do anything at that time because we all wanted to participate, and that was a big event where more than ever people participated as they didn't need to go to Washington DC as to participate, so everybody was able to do that from the home, and it was an excellent opportunity to connect through virtual possibilities. Now, when we hope that we are on the way out of the COVID-19 crisis, it's about time to start not only thinking but doing with our clients, and to give them advices on investments, on where to invest the money and what to buy or sell. It's about time to increase the heat and to start working with all the clients and on the field. For this time, I decided to invite people that will help us understand about and give us idea about some possibilities for investment, particularly on international level. Most of the people that are out of United States are having their ideas or possibilities how to advise their clients where to invest and how. This will be one of the possibility that is already developed in more than 15 years, working in United States. And this is a company that is European company actually, and this is only European group with US certified purchase process, with strategic alliances built with associations with most important associations in the world, including NAR, FIAPSI, CPI, and nearly 50 others, if I understood well. My guest today is Boris Pizzolito, sales manager in the Opisas company, that is, as I said, European company dealing with international investment in USA. So, hello, Boris.
Hello to everybody. Hello to everybody, and thank you, Slaviša, for the opportunity. To my friend Slaviša, here we are.
Yes, thank you for accepting my invitation, and we are already working together for some time. I'm happy to announce that I am one of the brokers that have agreement with you to work in the business and to look ahead for the opportunity to do a business already.
Exactly.
You are open for this cooperation, and I hope you will give us the answer how to cooperate and how to help our people, our clients about investment, give them the best advice and how to do it. What Opisas company is working about 18 years, if I understood well.
From 2008, since 2008, so 12 years.
12 it's already mature. It's already some maturity. Huh?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, so you have a direct experience with what you have done so far, and to tell us generally, are you satisfied so far?
Yeah, we are satisfied for sure. And we are satisfied also with the new situation that is growing up in the next month and weeks through the crisis that becomes from coronavirus also in the US. So there are big changes also in the nation US market. And when there are so big changes, there are also so very big opportunities.
So you are on the position to look for the opportunities in any problem occurred.
Exactly, exactly. We try our best to do that, Slaviša.
Okay, okay. Just to tell you, when I saw the list of registered people, we have people here from Serbia and from Croatia. I have registered people from Singapore and Dominican Republic. So there are people from the other countries as well, out of United States. I hope, I suppose, all of us have interest to find out more about investment in USA and your expectation after this COVID virus situation. So I give you your microphone. So, please do the presentation of your possibility, and we will carefully listen for what you have to offer.
Thank you so much, Slaviša. Just a moment that I will share with you, all of you, the presentation. Okay. Here we are. I hope that all of you are watching to the presentation.
Yes, we see it.
Correct, Slaviša? Perfect.
Yeah,
so
it's all right.
Let's start. I will do a short presentation about who we are and especially what we are doing and which are the opportunities that we can give to realtors, to real estate professionals all around the world and to their clients. So Opisas is an international group focused on the US residential real estate market. Since 2008, we have been offering to our investors residential, affordable US real estate opportunities that generate an annual income in addition to a capital appreciation over time. So we have specialized on US real estate market, on residential real estate market, and on opportunities for investors. Okay, so it's residential properties to do an investment, not to go to live, let's say like that. And are real estate opportunities that generate both an annual income that, as we will see, it's coming from the rent, from the rental, and in addition to a capital appreciation over time when the investor will decide to resell the property. We offer these properties to investors by making them the sole owners of the property that we identify and fully manage on our investors' behalf. So the investor is the sole owner of the property, no multi-sharing or no other kind of things, the sole owner. And we are with the investor from the day one when he's approaching to this investment and deciding how he wants to do this investment to the end of the investment, to when the investor will decide to resell the property for the capital gain. So we give a service, complete service during all the lifetime of the investment. And what distinguishes us is our focus on accessible US real estate residential properties, accessible properties. So we are not talking about high-end or low-end properties, but accessible. So the middle part of the real estate market, and which we rent to solvent tenants. So as I said, part of the income is generated annually from the rental because these properties are already rented to solvent tenants that pays the rent. So give a net yield starting from the day one after the closing. And in this way, we are de-risking the exposure to every market cycles for the investor. We are not intermediaries. We were talking about that with Slaviša some minutes before we start our webinar. We are not intermediaries. I think that this thing is very important. But we actively invest in the properties that we are offering to our investors because we are the owner. So we buy the property. First of all, we are buying the property and we are doing that in full equity. So no financial leverage, no banks, nothing of these things. We are using our money to go to the market, buy a lot of properties, portfolio of properties from banks, from funds and other things, or also from MLS. And then we are renting these properties, and when the properties are generating this net yield, we are reselling to the investors. But we will see in the presentation better how it works. And our investment cycles include identifying and buying suitable and affordable properties which offer superior returns. This is the first point.
So just to conclude, if you allow me, just to conclude, so you are the owner of these properties that you talk about?
Exactly.
Okay, because it is very important for the relationship that you made with the brokers and etc. At what position you are in this situation?
Yeah, we are the direct owner of the properties that we are.
Great. Excuse me, continue.
Yeah, thank you, Slaviša. When just interrupt me, don't worry. So, as I say, we are identifying and buying the properties. Then we are doing a complete due diligence and full renovation of these houses, of these properties. We are identifying and setting up solvent tenants who will be renting those properties. So the properties are bought by us. We do a due diligence on all the titles of the properties, and we fully renovate the property. Then we are finding the right tenant, the solvent tenant, and that will pay the rent for that property. We are closely monitoring trends in the US real estate market, and if we have a little bit of time, we can talk also about shortly about that, or as we talk, Slaviša, we can do it in another appointment, just talking about the situation of the US market from, let's say, from April and for the next from April, May, and the next months, what is going on there and what can change in the real estate market in the US. It's very interesting. And as I said, we are monitoring all the trends in the US real estate market with a focus on the rental market, thus optimizing returns on these assets. So we are monitoring day by day to understand how much we can rent that property, when to buy it, when to resell it for us and for the investors. So also when the property is no more our property, but we sold it to the investor, we continue to do that day by day, this monitoring of the market to help the investor to have the best returns over the lifetime of investment. And at the end, we are offering these properties to investors through a segregated portfolio solution tailored to each investor. What this means? We have investors that are buying just one property, and we are, let's say, more structured investors that are buying portfolio investment. This to diversify the risk and to diversify also the investment and the yields that comes from investment. So in this portfolio option is more, let's say, it's still a real estate investment, but has the financial numbers, let's say like that. And this, trust me, right now, from our experience, let's say in the last weeks and months here in Europe, it's very, very interesting because, let's say, I can talk for Italy and for continental Europe. Let's say a lot of people went out from the stock exchange market in the last months, and so they have quite a lot of liquidity. So they have the money that it's no more invested in the stock options, but they don't know where to put this money. They want to put somewhere this money, but they don't know where to put. And to have this option of diversified residential portfolios in the USA that gives an immediate and steady profitability, this is very, very important. That This kind of investment is a real estate investment. So they are buying directly the property. They are sole owner, and there's nothing more concrete than real estate property. So it's not papers. They have the key of houses in the portfolio.
Nothing more real than real estate.
Exactly, Slaviša, exactly.
Excuse me, your presentation is not changing the slides?
No, now I will change. I'm just doing this short introduction and we will go through the slide.
Okay, excuse me.
So let's say nothing more real than real estate, but is a portfolio, our financial that has financial numbers that gives net yield from the day one. And this is very important right now for the investors. They try to find something where to invest this liquidity that gives a returns to them right now, today, not in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Okay, the gold, to give an example, is a good investment right now. A lot of people are investing in gold right now, but gold is not giving a return day by day. Okay, it's giving a return only when you will resell the gold. The real estate, these kind of properties that are already rented give a return, a net yield from the day one after the closing. And then you have also a capital gain when you decide to exit from the investment. So, sorry for this introduction. I will go ahead with the presentation. So I have done just the Opisas overview, and let's go why invest in the US. Sorry, Opisas overview, we go to our numbers. So this is the Opisas key figures. So we are active in the market with 18 offices in 3 continents since 2008. We will see where in the world. We have, let's say, our clients earned over $295 million in rental fees in this period, and we transacted over 3,800 properties. Our properties that we buy, we do the due diligence and the renovation. We put the tenant inside. When the property is giving the net yield, so the rental, we are reselling to the investor, which will be the sole owner. Of this kind of properties, we transacted over 3,800 properties since 2008, and our client earned over 295 million. We have done a lot of events, virtually and real events, also in Belgrade. Sometimes we come with the friends, with Slaviša and the other friends from Serbia. So
including conference Learn to Succeed, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. We come a lot of time there. It's always a great experience and a great moment for us of networking with the Balkanic market, and let's say with the international market, because every year are more and more people coming there from all over the world. So it's a great place to be, I would say, Slaviša. So, and we are doing this kind of events all over the world, participating or organizing. We have over 3,000 sales partners worldwide. As Slaviša, we have a lot of sales partners around the world. As Slaviša say, we have 20 strategic alliances with real estate associations, including the most, let's say, famous, maybe the NIR of USA, and the CEPI, which is similar in European Union. We are also working as asset manager for 35 companies that are dealing with real estate investment. And as Slaviša said, we are the only European group with US certified purchase process.
Can you explain that a little bit more? What does it mean? What does it mean that a certificate?
That means that an independent company, European company, go through to our purchase process, okay? And this company certificate that everything is correct. And we are the only company in Europe, the only European group that has this purchase process in the US. So for real estate in the US, certified by an independent company in Europe.
Who is issuing this certificate?
So it's an Italian company. I can send to you and to all the participants the name of the company and also the certificate. Okay.
Okay.
So about the proposal, what we are proposing? We are proposing investment with the yearly target returns that goes from 6 to 11% net yield. This is a net yield coming from just from rental. Our investment in physical assets, as Slaviša said, nothing is more real than real estate. Let's say our system is scalable. Purchase and management is fully scalable, so we can do it for one property or for 100 property. We have a solid and proven track record since 2008, and we will see some numbers after in the presentation. We give to our investors the opportunity to invest in real estate portfolios with steady cash flow. So from the day one, a steady cash flow, low investment risk rate, and an investment strategy that at the end is uncorrelated from financial and real estate markets. And also that we will see during the presentation how is uncorrelated or why is uncorrelated from financial and real estate markets. Where we are, this is our global business presence and strategic alliances. So our main office is in Orlando, Florida, in the US. We have other offices and companies in the United States that are working on the specific real estate market. Then it's very important, Central and South America, it's very important for us as a final market. Final end market, especially Brazil, where we have 3, 6, 7 offices right now. We have then 2 offices in Colombia and 1 in Mexico. Regarding Europe, our main office is in Ljubljana in Slovenia. Then we are located between Slovenia and Italy. Now I'm talking to you from Trieste. And then we have other partners, as you said, in Serbia and in other countries that you can see. And we have also an office in London, in the United Kingdom, that is dealing with United Kingdom. At the beginning was the main office, but right now it's working just with the United Kingdom. So the main office for European Union is in Ljubljana. Here is a little bit of our pictures of our Opisas team in Europe and in the US. Just to giving you an idea that it's not just me, we have also other people. Here is our Opisas business model. So the business model is made by 3 parts: real estate acquisition, management, and optimization. Regarding the real estate acquisition, we are buying residential properties up to 150,000 maximum per each property. This is when I said that we are concentrating and focused on residential properties that are affordable, accessible, so the mid part, not the high end or the low end, the mid part. So we are buying properties. Directly, because we are the owner, as we said, we are buying properties that are not more expensive than $150,000 each property. Where we are buying only in US, only in urban zones, with high profitability and with high potential of value increase over the year. And how we are doing? We are doing that in full equity, no financial leverage, no banks, our cash, our money. And we are the direct owners, not brokers of the property that we are proposing. Then the management, very, very important, and we will see also in the presentation. These properties are fully managed, and we are giving a full management to our investor, or directly or with the supervision of acquired real estate assets. So we are working directly with the services that we are giving to the investors directly, or we have partners in the US, because for sure in each part of the US, we have our property manager that are watching to the property and giving all the services needed to make these properties profitable day by day. And so we give a supervision for the investors. Okay, so if there is any problem with the language, for example, no problem. We are working with the investor, and we can provide also people speaking more or less all the languages in Europe for sure, and more or less all over the world. And then the other thing for an investment is the optimization of investment. So the optimization is given by two things: an immediate and steady profitability, as I said, from the rental, and the capital appreciation. We are working on that from the day when we as Opisas are choosing where we want to invest. We are doing our investment, so we are buying the properties thinking about the optimization of the profitability and the capital appreciation for the investor. Okay, so we are buying the property, but we are choosing the right property that will give to the investor an immediate net yield, day by day, month by month, year by year, and a capital appreciation over the years. So we are doing that from the day one, and then for all the lifetime of investment, when the property is in our portfolio, and also when the property is in the portfolio of investors that bought the property directly from us. Which is the investment method? So the Opisas investment method. Here you can see 6 steps investment method. First, the analysis. We are analyzing the right location and the asset, selecting the location and the asset where to invest. As I said, we are invest. We are the first investor, so we are doing this since the day one. Then the acquisition. The acquisition is direct. We buy the property. We are buying the property, and in full equity. Enhancement. When the property is bought by Opisas, so is an Opisas property, then the property is fully renovated and has a complete due diligence. This to enhance the value of the property. The next step is the income generation. How we do this income generation? We are doing that selecting and placing the tenant, the right tenant, in the property. So a solvent tenant that is paying the rental every month, so giving the net yield. So now we have also the income generation. Until now, the property is still from Opisas, still owned by Opisas. The next step is the sale. Only in the 5th step, Opisas is selling the property to the international investors as an already renovated and rented property with annual net yields of 6 to 11% plus the capital gain. And then we are giving a full property management during all the lifetime of the investment to the investors. As I said, for me, it's very, very important. One thing important is that we are the owner for sure, but the other thing that makes the difference at the end is the services that we are providing to the investors. Because one thing is, okay, you can buy a property in the US, maybe you can do it also by the MLS, but who is giving to you the property management to the property? Who is do the hard work day by day on that property? This is very important. And if you are an investor, if your clients have this, let's say, the investor mind, this financial idea of investment, of the real estate investment, they don't want to have any headache. Okay, so they are doing a real estate investment because it's real, but they don't want to have all the problems that a real estate investment can have. So it's very, very important to give to the investor all the services that make that investment makes that investment that has steady profitability, immediate profitability, and the capital appreciation at the end of the investment with any headache, that everything is managed by Opisas and their partner in the US. So we are doing that as an investment planning. So from day one, when we are talking with our sales partners and their clients, and together we are building up the right portfolio investment, then the full property management and support, and at the end also the optimization of exit strategy. You can see here bullet point of some of the services that we are giving, like accounting and fiscal services, legal services, and property management, that is very, very important, and so on. But until now, I talk about our business model, who is Opisas, and how our investment works. But why invest in the US real estate market? First of all, because it's still the biggest residential market for value in all over the world, with $33.3 trillion of value. This means that is a big market. And when you have a so big market, that means that it's very diversified. San Francisco or New York is not Jacksonville, for example, or Chicago is not Miami, and let's say so. Its location, its place, it's different and has his opportunities. And that means that when you decide to invest in a market so big, you have a lot of opportunity and to choose. Okay, it's not a small market; it's a big market with a lot of opportunity. And then it's a very dynamic market. Let's say last year, in the real estate residential, we are talking about just the residential real estate market in the US, where 1.4 million properties for sale for 333 million residents. I don't know the numbers in your own countries, but I can say about Italy, in the same year, 2019, Italy had 1.3 million properties for sale for a little bit less of 60 million of residents. Okay, so this means 6 or 7 times more residents, bigger market with the same offer. Okay, so it's a short offer and very big demand. Okay, this is a situation that begins from the previous crisis of 2008. After the crisis of 2008, the market, for a lot of reasons that we can also go to see maybe in another occasion, because it will be too long, but the market becomes like that, with a very shortage of offer and a very big demand. And especially when, and we will see in the next slide, a big demand for rental properties. Okay, so as we will see, there is a big demand for properties to buy, but there is an even bigger demand for property to go there as a tenant, okay, to rent the property. This is very important because this shortage of the offer means that the value of the property is increasing year after year. Even in this situation, trust me, even in this situation, there is no, let's say, ahead any idea of falling down of the real estate market in the US. Right now, the US real estate market is freezed. That means that there are no transactions, not selling, buying, and selling properties, but the value of the property is more or less the same. Maybe there will be a little bit changing, but all the analysis that we have, not only the analysis that we have done, but other parties, other companies, independent companies, says that in 1 year there will be a recovery about the value of residential properties. And in some location, for example, Detroit, where we are buying and investing a lot right now, the forecast for the next 12 months is an increasing of the value of the properties around 1% next year, 2021. So even also with the crisis, the coronavirus crisis, the effect that has this crisis is to freeze the transaction, but not to change very sensible way, in a very sensible way, the value of the property. I mean, it depends on the properties. If you are talking about high-end properties, for sure there will be some changes. But if we are talking about affordable properties and properties that you are buying to rent in that specific niche market, there will be not so big changes about values. And our idea, especially in some places where we are investing, is that in 12 months will be an increasing of the value of that property, again an increasing. The system, the legal and business system in the US is fully very, very transparent and efficient. This is very important for a foreign investor that wants to invest in a foreign market, let's say, to know that the rules are very clear there, the timing of the rules is very clear, no escape, no excuse. So for the tenant and for the owners, everything is very, very clear, transparent and efficient. Just some examples about the transparency. All the data of the property are available just Googling the address of a property. If you are Googling the address of a property, you will find all the tax and value history of the property, because all the data of the property are, as I say, transparent and online on the US. About the efficiency, just an example, if a tenant is not paying the rent, he is out of the property in 34 days medium. So the eviction lasts no more than 34 days. This is, I'm coming from Italy. From Italy, I think it's, if you are very, very, you can be very, very happy if you can do an eviction in 1 year, but there are people that staying years and years and they have still the tenants not paying the rental inside their houses. So in the US, no way, 34 days, the sheriff is coming back, taking the things of the tenants, and that's all. So this is very important.
Excuse me, Boris, can we stop here a little bit? What is the starting point for these 34 days? When this term is starting?
So let's say we are calculating these 34 days from 5 days after the day when the tenant had to pay the rent, the monthly rent. Okay.
Okay. If he doesn't pay in 5 days from the day he should pay, then you can move on and start counting 34 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have to let him know by some note or whatever to say, okay, if you don't pay me in 2 days or whatever?
Yes, it's like that. But the property manager is doing for the investor all the things. Okay.
So all of this is done by you.
It's done by our partners in the US. So the property manager, the Opisas property managers in the US, is doing for the investors.
Okay, and if I was investor, I have just to lay down when I have you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Like that. It's very, very efficient. The process is a process, so it's not like, okay, you haven't paid me the rent, now you have to go out. No, there is a process for sure. It's a legal process, but in 34 days, the tenant is out. He's not paying. After 5 days, you can send to him a note that he has to pay, and he has 5 days more to pay, but he has to pay with a little bit more. Okay, so in 5 days, I mean, you have a 3, 4, or 5% more of the rental that the tenant has to pay, and then the process goes on. But in 34 days, the tenant is out. Okay.
Yeah, that's security for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This 34 days, it's the medium average for Florida, okay? But more or less it's the same, because as you know, the US, it's federation, so every state has a little bit different procedures, but more or less are the same. So when I say 34 days is for the average maximum for Florida, where we have most of our properties. For sure, US for the international investor has also an advantageous fiscal regime. because in my opinion, also because it's transparent, and so you know everything, what you have to pay, when you have to pay, everything is very clear, and this is advantages. But for sure, if you are buying with our help this kind of properties, and we are suggesting to buy it opening a company in the United States, so not buying as a physical person, but buying with the company that we are opening for the investor in the US. He is the only owner, 100% owner of the company. Through this company, you have a fiscal regime even better, okay? Especially in the capital gain in the reselling of the property, or for the inheritance tax, which is very, very high in US. If you are doing as a physical person, if you are doing with a company, it's a lot less, much more better. And then buying in US, it means also a currency diversification in US dollars, that at the end, it's still the most important currency around the world. And we are seeing right now, it seems for sure, because it's a forecast, so nobody has the glass ball, but the forecast, there are some forecasts that says that the euro and US dollars will go to parity, and also maybe the US dollar will be much stronger, will become stronger than the euro in the next months. So this is important, and this thing is already this situation, it's already going on, for example, in South America with real or other currency, in Brazil or other countries. It's already like that, and it seems that also in Europe will be something like that. So that means that if you are buying now with one currency, so with an exchange ratio, you will have some advantages in reselling in next year, let's say next year, next 2 years. It's something to evaluate for sure. As I said, the real estate market in US, it's very dynamic, not only in buying and selling the properties, but also the residential rental market. And so here you can see why we decide to invest in US residential rental market, because in most part of the properties that we are buying, especially the condo apartments, most part of the residents in these properties are tenants, not owners. Even to 92% of the residents in some kind of condo apartment are tenants, not owners. That means that is a big demand for rental properties, and this is still like that. Also, right now, from the first data that we received from the US, it's still like that. Also now with the crisis, because as you can see, American population, especially in some kind of residential properties, and as I said, affordable residential properties. So this niche of the market, the majority of Americans are living in this kind of properties as tenants. So they still need a place where to live, also if there is a crisis. And the government, federal government, and single states gives the first aid, economic aids to the population, also to pay the rental. So this thing, it's already real. Also now with this crisis, it's still a big demand of properties for rental. Let's go a little bit to the numbers. If something it's not Slaviša, if you have any question to the numbers now, I will try to do the math to one property. So this is
we'll certainly pay attention here.
Yeah, and so any question, I'm here. So this is a real case study. So a property that that the investor bought from us for $79,000, an already rented property, and already rented for $650 per month, gives a rental fee per year of 11,400. This is the gross yield. So it's all the rental fee that tenants paid in 1 year for this property is $11,400. That means 14.43% per annum gross yield. How the net yield is calculated? So we take this gross yield, per annum gross yield, and we take from this gross yield the property management that the investor has to pay the property management, which is in this case $912 per annum. The property
This is your fee.
No, it's not our fee because we don't ask any fee as Opisas. This is the property management fee. Okay, so it's the property management company that is an Opisas partner that is managing the property for the investor in a daily basis.
So the property manager is not your employee?
No, it's not our, because we think that each one has to do his own job. Okay, so it's very important to manage the property in the right way, to choose a property manager that is from that location, from that city, and even from that area of the city. Okay, because he knows the tenants, he knows the situation, he knows all the best things or other things that goes in that area. So it's very important to work with property manager, local property managers. But we are selecting this property manager through a selection that starts in 2008, so 12 years of selection.
Actually, this part of your service is also important. For example, if I would like to invest in the property there and then to look for the property manager, maybe it will be harder for me to find the good one.
Exactly, it will be a mess, Slaviša, if you don't have any contact, any connection in directly in US. Okay, if you don't have a property manager, you cannot do this kind of investment, in my opinion. But because it means that the tenant will call you directly to the investor if there is any problem with the fridge, for example. We call at 4 o'clock in the morning saying the fridge is not working. This kind of things is the property manager doing for the investor. Okay, so the investor doesn't know anything. Everything is done by the property manager, and he just see his net yield on the bank account, and that's all. Okay, so a property manager is very, very important to do this kind of investment, to have a property manager and to choose the right one. This is very, very, very important. Look, our property managers are asking from 8 to 10%. Just from the collected rental. Okay, so if there is not the tenant, or if the tenant is not paying the rental, the property manager is not earning his money. This is very important, because that means that the property manager is the first that wants to find and to choose the right tenant inside the property, because if the tenant is not the right one, he has not his earning also, not only the investor. Okay, in this case it's the 8%, because this is a property in Orlando, in Florida. So in Florida it's 8%. Then the condominium fees, as you can see in the pictures, this kind of properties is inside a condo. It's called in US. It's typical. It's a gated community, so closed community that in the middle has a swimming pool. The barbecue area has the tennis courts, some has also the golf courts, have a gym, a lot of services, and you have the park and all these kind of things. These are very important because it gives value to the property and gives value also to the rental of the property. The better services have a condominium, the better value we have the properties inside that condominium, and the better rental will be for the property in that condominium. So it's true, the condominium fees are maybe higher than in other countries around the world, but it's because inside this fee you have the services that are given to the residents. and also the managing of all these services. But also inside that you have an assecuration, an insurance. You have an insurance on the common areas, but also on the roof and the facade of your property. This is very important. So you have an insurance on, let's say, on the house, on the property. And then another part of the condominium fees goes to the condo association, puts some part of this money apart for any exceptional works that have to do in the years in the condominium. So you have all of this in this $3,000. And the last thing that you have to cut from the gross yield is the property tax. The property tax goes from 1 to 2% of not of the market value of the property, but of 1 or 2% of the cadastral value of the property, which is more or less 30% less than the market value. Okay, so when you are cutting down all these expenses from the gross yield, at the end you will have a yearly net yield, which is in this case $6,372, which means the 8.07% net yield per annum. Okay, there is any question about that?
This is the figure we are interested for.
Okay, okay. If there is any question, or if not, let's go ahead.
If anybody would like to make any question, you have a chat box. You can write it there, or you can raise your hand, whatever, and we can answer that question.
Okay, let's go ahead. Here are some examples of our properties. The first here, you are in Detroit. These are in Florida. These 3 columns are all in Florida, different locations in Florida: Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, so main area in Florida where we can find this kind of property. As I'm talking about Florida, I didn't mention Miami, but I'm doing because there is a reason. In Miami, you cannot find this kind of properties for this kind of expenses, and with these good numbers for the net yield. So it's difficult to buy a property in Miami for, let's say, from $60,000 to $140,000 or $150,000, which is our average of the range of our portfolio, and that gives a net yield from 6 to 11% annum. In Miami, no way to find these kind of things. Here is in Chicago, and this one is in Baltimore and Philadelphia. So we have some pictures to see that are nothing more real than real estate, as we say in Slavish. And
there is one question, Boris, from Ali Whitley from United States. Is the insurance cost included in something that you were speaking on the previous slide? If I understood well, it's included in this 3,000.
Yeah, so it's not the so it's the condominium insurance. So the HOA. This condominium fees is the HOA. We wrote here condominium fees because for the international, let's say, investors and buyers, it's easier to understand than HOA. So this is the HOA. Inside the HOA, you have, of course, the services, as we said, and you have also part of the insurance, which is the condominium insurance.
And homeowners insurance is also included.
Yeah, it's the insurance of the homeowner association. Okay, so after you can do other insurance. This is let's say the walls in insurance. That means that it's assured all the things that are inside your property. In this case, in these condominium fees are not insured all the things that are inside your property, just the facade and the roof.
Yeah, actually, all the costs that are connected with ownership are or paying the property manager or whatever it needs for this are included in this what you showed to us.
Yes. After that, you can decide to do other insurances or to have other costs. Okay, this is the average for us. For example, if you are doing in Florida, an investment in Florida, you can do it like that because you have already an insurance on the property, as I said, in the condominium insurance. So you can do it like that. It depends. Okay, if an investor wants to do this kind of investment for, let's say, 2-3 years, maybe he can say, okay, I'm right like that. If there is any risk about what is inside the property, I will manage that risk because I want an exit strategy in 2-3 years. If I will pay the insurance every year for that, maybe it will be not a good deal. Okay. If there is another, maybe there is another investor that wants to invest with an exit strategy of 10 or more years. In that case, we suggest to do another insurance because in 10 years, you know, the probability to have other problems can be. So it's better to have another insurance other than the HOA insurance, and so you don't have any headache. Okay, we can provide also this other insurance on the property. It depends on the property, on the location, on the state, so it's very different, but I can say that it can go from $600 to $800 per annum average. Okay, if you want, let's say, an integrative insurance on the property.
Okay.
So I'm going ahead, and we are close to the end of the presentation, but I want to present to you a real case study. So this it was a case study of one of our investors, and let's see it. This is a benchmark case study from the period that goes from 2014 and 2019. That means that one of our private investors bought 5 properties in 2014 with an invested capital of nearly $500,000, and then he sold all these 5 properties in 2019. In this period, in these 5 years, he achieved all the net rental yield, okay, from these properties, and then he achieved also the capital gain from reselling the properties in 2019. So let's go step by step. Also here, Slaviša or anybody else, if you have any question, because the numbers can be a little bit difficult to understand, I'm here. So day one, this private investor bought, as I said, 5 properties, $500,000 with the rental yield. So this means a gross yield of 12.3% per annum. That means $61,000 per annum, and the net yield of 9.4% per annum. That means $46,655. So this net rental yield is that one that we calculated in the slide before. Okay. After the 5 years, he collected of net rental yield $233,000 and something more dollars in 5 years. We put here a -8% provision for any expenses like maintenance, vacancy, or turnover. This is statistical data from our track record, but we can put in a 5-year investment that -8% of maintenance, vacancy, and turnover expenses. So other expenses than the other that we already saw in the other slide. So at the end, the updated net yield was $215,000. As I said, in 2019, after the 5 years, the investor decided to sell all the properties, and he sold it with a price of $592. He bought for $498,500, and he resold the properties for $592,000. That means that he had a capital gain of 18.8%. That is $93,500. plus the updated net yields, $214,000, minus the cost of resale, because of reselling there are some costs. At the end, this investor had a final cash of $759,000 for an EBITDA, which means earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. So it's the yield at the end, the return, let's say, at the end of this investment of $260,000, and with a return on investment in 5 years of 47.6%. Okay, so investing a little bit less of $500,000, he had a return of $260 in net returns before taxes. Okay, there is any question about that?
So if I understood well, this is $498,000. For example, I invest buying 5 properties. That's right?
Exactly. It's not.
And then, what I will earn by renting it is $61,000 per year.
Gross.
Which give us total rental yield $233,000, subtracting 8% of the provision of the cost, etc. And I left with $214,000 earning from renting.
Exactly.
That's one of my earnings.
Exactly.
And another earning is that the price increased for that property for 5 years.
Exactly.
Up to $590,000 to $92,000 is the change of the price for 5 years. So I earn from increasing the price of that properties.
Correct.
And when we subtract the capital gain and cost of resale, etc., we earn $260,000 on investing of $498,000. So it's a little bit over half of investment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a little bit over, yes, exactly. So it's a little bit more than 10% per annum.
It's a great yield.
Yeah.
Because it's possible because I earn from 2 things. I earn from increasing the value of that property, and then I earn from the renting it.
Exactly. Correct. Correct.
Is the reason for this increasing price only the increasing price of the market, or increasing price of that property that increase the price because of the value, increase the value of that property?
I could say both. So it's about the market, but it's coming from the thing that Opisas is choosing the right property where to invest. So our property in location that has this idea of increasing of the value over the years, because as are in area that are under renovation, under project of renovation, for example, that gives good capital gain opportunities, options over the years, and also because the property was fully renovated and all the due diligence, as I said, as we are choosing the property in the right HOA, so the condominium association, this increase the value of the property year after year. Also because the property was correctly managed during these 5 years. Also that increased the value of the property.
So you are on the market already over 18 years?
12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you entered the market when it was the crisis, exactly. The previous crisis, but a real crisis.
Yeah,
a financial crisis.
A financial crisis that comes from a real estate crisis.
So you recognize opportunity to use the crisis to invest at that moment and to build a company and bring earning to the other investors and to the brokers.
Exactly, exactly. Slaviša, you met Chris, our CEO and founder of Opisas. He's like crazy in these days, in these months, because he saw plenty of opportunities in the US every day. Every day people are calling him, buy this property, buy this portfolio of properties. So we are talking of very big numbers. So there are a lot of opportunities right now. There are not opportunities about the value. So it's not about like the crisis in the 2008. In the 2008, the day after of the crisis was the real estate market was completely destroyed. So you can buy property for nothing. Right now, it's not like that. So it's not opportunity about the value. The difference is that the internal market is freeze, as I say. Now it's starting recovering, but it was freeze in April for sure, and the first part of May. That means that all the people, all the companies that have property to sold has difficulty to find the buyers in the local internal market. That means that international investors like Opisas has the access to a bigger number of properties, of opportunities to choose. If before the crisis, let's say Chris has on his desk, let's say 100 properties to choose, where to choose, 10 of these 100 properties were good for our kind of investment, okay? Right now he has thousands of properties and hundreds are good for our investment. This is a big opportunity. And at the end, this opportunity, it's also for the investor that we have better property, maybe for more or less the same value, but with better opportunities of net yield, stable, much more stable opportunity of net yield during the years, and also better opportunities of capital gain over the years in the next, let's say, from 1 to 2 to 3 years, when let's say also 1 year when the market will start growing again.
Okay, so it's to understand that when there is a crisis, the real estate brokers and agents shouldn't sleep, investors shouldn't sleep. They will have to have open eyes for everything what is going on.
Trust me, Slaviša, investors are not sleeping right now, for sure.
Okay, I have a question from Nenad. Wanted to ask you something. Is it better to finish the presentation or
yeah,
to...
I have finished the presentation. So here, just another slide. It's the same properties. So 5 properties that the investor bought in 2014. But here you can see the differences between the properties. As I said, we are building up this portfolio in a diversified way. So it's a diversified strategy. It's an investment with a diversifying strategy. The portfolio is diversified by price. So we are buying not property that have very big value. So for us, it's better to invest $500,000 in 5 property than invest $500,000 in just one property. Because if that property has a problem, all your investments will have a problem. If you invest in 5 property and 1 property has a problem, you have other 4 properties that has no problems, and your investment is still going good, okay, in a good way. This is the first diversifying strategy, diversified way of our strategy. The other is that we are diversifying different locations. When we are building up this portfolio for investors, we are putting inside different locations. Here you can see also about the exit strategy. Here you can see a property with a short, first one is a short, medium-term exit strategy. This means that this property is in Florida, which is an international market, a very dynamic market. That means that you can forecast to have a better capital gain in a short, medium term, let's say 2, 3, for 5 years. Okay, you will have a better capital gain opportunities, and it's better to you to resell the property inside this period. The other properties are medium long term. These are properties in the northeast cities, big cities of United States, especially, as I said, Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Chicago. And these are different properties. We are buying these properties in area where are under project of fully renovation, big project of renovation, and that gives very good opportunities of net yields immediate right now, because it is changing the kind of tenants, completely different tenants, because it's reevaluating the area and so on. Also are reevaluating the tenancy size, so good rental means good net yields starting from day one, and you will have also good capital gains, but in a medium long term. You have to wait that all the area is completely renovated. And so this meaning medium long term, it means from 5 to 7 to 10 years. When we are building up this kind of portfolio, we are trying to do this diversification also in exit strategy, because you can have an investor that say to you, I want an investment for 10 years. I want to forget about the investment and just look once a year to my account if everything is okay, and that's all. Okay, we will put inside this portfolio much more medium long term properties, but we will put also some short medium term properties, because nobody knows. Maybe the year after, this investor after 2 years wants a little bit of cash for his children, or I don't know, or he wants to do other kinds of investment and he wants a little bit of cash. If he has inside the portfolio also a short medium term, he is able to resell the property for a good price and to have also capital gain. If he has not, he will be able for sure to resell the property, but he will not have the same capital gain. So this is about diversifying inside the investment, that I think it's very important to say also that. And with this, I finished, Slaviša. So,
okay, thank you very much, Boris, for this beautiful presentation and opportunities you showed to not only to us as brokers and agents, but outside of United States particularly, but as well to the investors. I am sure that this video will be very interesting to be watched by some people that are thinking about investment and placement of their money in some good investment, good asset.